On one side, the exchanges are running behind the XRP holders and says XRP will be delisted or the trading of XRP will be halted. But this one from GitHub shows you the real reasons you have to consider. At the same time, for regulatory seats, we may have a change. And when we think one head is moving, this one kind of gets attraction. This one shows a possible seat to get into. Just a speculation, but still a possibility which you can't neglect. Whatever the truth is at the side, here Brian Brooks points this one out. He shows US and the banking system needs to be ready for decentralized finance or DeFi that's coming. As the financial infrastructure is changing, the new CFTC chair can be a guy who understands this technology. So, unlike others, the previous guy who screwed tons of XRP holders, this can be a bullish news for the entire XRP community. Now, today I would be sharing you guys a chart which is XRPBTC that shows you huge opportunity here. I would like to share this chart and start from here because there, as we have a lot of opportunities ahead, we do have to consider different factors and which I will explain for you guys so that when you look at the chart next time, it will be easy for you. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. Now, this chart which I've talked about, it's showing you a huge opportunity. Look at the difference from the current price towards the moving averages. Now here I use the 50 and 200-day moving average. So this is on a daily chart of XRPBTC, which gives you that medium to long-term scenario. If you want to look at the long-term, you can either go into 3-day chart or a weekly chart. If you want to look at just the medium term, you can come into the 12-hour chart. If you are looking at short to medium, go to 4-hour. It completely depends on how you trade this market. So, what are these factors which are important? We'll explain them one by one. But before that, do understand when one side, US is kind of screwing things up and regulators, they are some are trying to make this correct. There are nations who has already put out that clarity. And there are nations who are willing to adopt this technology to the very end and make that benefit towards all the customers. Ripple partner SBI shows the way there. Now let's actually jump into the charts before we move through these fundamentals and discuss that. Charts are really important because it gives you a lot of story which you understand and digest properly, then you take that opportunity. So here, if you are actually looking at this, previously back here in 2018, just before that final blast off to the roof, in the December, if you are looking at that time the price and the 50-day moving average had a difference of 117%. Then from that price towards the 200-day moving average, we had like 375%. Now, at that time, the price actually bursted to the upside 2000%. Now, that's in terms of XRPBTC. Do understand in that cycle, when XRP was going high, in terms of USD, BTC was also going high. Now, I'm not saying BTC is going to be going down. Instead, what I direct you towards is an idea which shows XRP, if it moves 100%, BTC may be moving like 5 to 10%. Because yes, the value of BTC is higher and the value of XRP is lower, but that gives you the potential to get maximum return on your investment. So here, as of now, when you look, you can see 150% difference between the 50 and 200-day moving average. Now, you can look throughout the history. If you want to go into the charts, I'll just take you through the charts. I'll just show you what that chart actually means. Say if I go into a weekly chart of the same stuff, you can look at this and see where you see something similar, right? I don't personally see something similar like that. Once you had this opportunity here, before that, it's like here where you actually see that the moving average, which is the 50-day moving average, is above the price, and that's like 300%. But that was during a bear market. We were going down, 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 and that showed you that yes, there was opportunity. Those who bought there didn't get much of a downside from there, but the market cycle had to play out. And here, if you are looking at this, the market cycle actually started early here in terms of USD when you are looking at it. Then it popped once, twice, then it corrected for next 6-7 months and then popped again. Now in this USD chart, it would be confusing for you because if you are familiar with XRP USD chart. So for that, I would actually take you towards XRP USD chart on a weekly. Now the first pop which you saw here is this one. Then the second one is this, then a long correction here, then the third one. So again back here, first, second, long correction, and then the third one. So that was showing you we were still inside a bull market there. When you compare the time frame, similarly now we completed that bull market, we came back towards the bottom, which is the bear market. Then we started this bull run, which is moving in that bullish aspects, if I should say, because when you look at this trend line, it is still rising and it is still being supported. So we can argue that it is still inside that pattern where we should bounce here towards the resistance level. Now, what will that make here? In terms of BTC, XRP is going to pump, and if it is going to pump, what will it create? There would be a huge difference. Now you go back into daily to understand that yes, we still have a lot of difference, and then you come into a weekly to see, okay, so here with the 50-day moving average, you have like 150%, and from there towards the 200-day moving average, you have like 540. So what does that give you? That gives you an idea that even though we are looking at, say, a pop towards 1000-2000%, 500-550% of rise can be a resistance. So now you plotted that 500-550 here, and you'll take just a horizontal line and put it nearby that, and look what it was reacting to. Here when we popped, yes, that area was a resistance. Here that was a support. Here that was a resistance. So when you go through that, you can understand it was a support resistance area which the weekly chart is directing you to. It's not a big deal. When you look at the chart, you get that idea. Now on a daily, when you look at the price fluctuation from this time, which is November, towards here, you can see the price is directing you to the downside, whereas the RSI is showing you the upside, right? So that is actually huge because it shows you a divergence like this on a daily when the price has this much fluctuation with the moving averages, both the 20 and 50-day moving average. Now, if you actually want to get a more of an indication about that, you can go in and put Bollinger Bands. Now that is mostly used to understand where the bottom is and how the trend is moving on. Now if you look at the price, within that the Bollinger Bands are closing. So before each pop, you get that closing of that Bollinger Bands. Now go back in history if you want to look at that. You will understand before the initial pop, we always do that. And before that, you can see that the moving average is kind of moving towards the downside and then slowing down the momentum to the downside, which you can see here too. Now that's about the market cycle. Now when you look at the price here, it's being supported, right? So this is the macro trend of XRPBTC, and this one is XRPBTC on a short term. Now I never recommend to trade short term, but I show you the possibilities of where the price can move in short to medium term. Now most of the time when we have a breakout, it goes like directly goes and hit the targets immediately. But here we are seeing a delayed momentum, but we retested that once. It failed, came back into the pattern, but you see that the moving average is acting as a support. It broke above again. Now the retest here looks like it's bouncing. So the target again should be 20%. Now I know, yeah, by the time I post the video, do the post editing, post processing, uploading and other stuff, it may reach its target, or if the momentum is still low, it may not, because the RSI actually have to go above this because it is currently having that resistance. Now that's on the BTC terms. So what about the USD terms? When you look at this on a 4-hour, you see this, which is still acting as a support. The RSI is valid, and the 4-hour shows you that there is a possibility that the MACD can cross to the upside. But keep in mind, first time usually it doesn't happen. It tries 1, it fails. It tries 2, it fails. Then the third time it crosses to the upside. So if you look here, we tried first here, if you look here, and then it failed, it went down and crossed. Here, the difference is that we are in the positive territory of MACD, whereas others, we were in the negative territory. So that's something which you have to look at. TA is so important for any asset which you trade, because depending upon your time frame, it may get volatile. To understand that, you need to go through different charts and understand how that is acting. So for example, here what you see is that XRP came back towards the moving averages, and the moving average and then bounced from here. So the moving average is kind of slowly moving to the upside. The 200-day moving average is moving to the upside. 50 has to now round up and bounce. Why? Because on the RSI you see a trend which is kind of slowing it down, but it needs to break above. And once it go above that, it should lead us towards the recent top of 0.3635 and then towards the upper resistance of this pattern which I showed you on that daily. So that would be somewhere near 0.5, 0.48 you may get, depending upon when we pop, because on our daily we are still at the bottom. Now if you zoom in, if you want to look at what I told yesterday and see what is happening right now, we came back, we are retesting that, and it looks like we are bouncing. So that bounce on a daily here looks like a flag pattern, but almost all the time XRP flag pattern ends up like this before going to the upside. So any asset which you trade in this bull market should be based on these patterns and indicators. I actually post almost all the different assets which you guys have in your portfolio, so that it's easy for you to understand what is happening and what you should look at, and all the updates like this, where that opportunity is, where you can look at, and other stuffs. So if you would like to get similar thing support for your portfolio to maximize your profit, you can look at the Patreon. Link is given in the description below. Now, yes, you can ask, why is TA so important? Because based on TA, we told BTC Ether is going to behave like this, and it did. Now, if you were watching at least last 1 week worth of my videos, your time and the value, you compare the cost benefit, you will understand what I'm speaking of. Now you look at other assets here, say last 1 week. BTC is 1%, Ether is negative 1.85, whereas XRP is still showing you that 31%. So yes, as you move down towards the stellar, you get 40%. So XRP and XLM, both the payments assets which are getting that attraction and adoption level in the marketplace, is maintaining this in current bull market. Now, yes, that's on last week. If you go back and look at 30 days and far away, you will understand that there is a lot of room. Say last 30 days, XRP went 40% down, which pulled it down towards just 40% gain in this year, compared to the 650% of Ether and 300% of Bitcoin. So yes, even though they dropped in price, they are still way high in last 1 year. So if you are looking for an opportunity, you should be looking at asset which did not go high in this market cycle as of now. Because I see people jumping onto assets which already went like 500%, 1000% or 2000% in a year. For me, I'll say buy low and sell high. Let it be in any different time frame you trade. You have to go through that. You have to look at the support resistance zones pattern wise and trend wise, and then accommodate both of them to look for recent fluctuations so that you understand what is coming ahead. Now the chances here as we plotted are we may bounce to the upside. Why? This is XRP USD. We compared it with XRP BTC 2, and the MACD shows you that guidance that it may cross to the upside and it may move towards 0.36 again. Why 0.36? In that 4-hour chart, your 200-day moving average would be acting as a resistance around 0.36. So that should kind of slow the price down. Now if it doesn't, that means we are going to break through and reach towards the trend line resistance, because you do have to note that here when you look at the chart, you can clearly see a shoulder here and then a head here, which implies we are going to create a head and shoulder pattern, which really looks currently possible, right? So for that pattern, if you are measuring the measured move, say from the bottom of this pattern towards the neckline here, that's 117%. Now if that comes towards 0.36 and breaks, take out that 117%, it takes you towards 0.8, 0.78, 0.8. That means the recent high which we put here back in November. So those who are in Patreon, I gave them the targets where they should be taking profit, because many don't take out profit. They just put in money to their crypto portfolio and wait and wait and wait without taking profits. Always understand, market is about making money. And how you make money? You put money. Yes, I agree, you put in money. Otherwise, you won't get money. But you lose when others take profit. Someone loses and someone gains. Crypto is 24/7 worldwide. So you have to decide whether you want to lose on the one end when someone else is gaining, or you should take your profits when you need them. Or just sit through tight for the long term. If you're a long-term investor with long-term bags without caring anything about the short-term fluctuations, it's cool. You don't actually have to look at the volatility in shorter time frame. You don't even have to look at the charts like 4-hour, 12-hour. Just go to a daily at least. Start from day, 3-day, weekly or monthly, which gives you that perspective. Now, if you trade trying to improve your portfolio, because not everyone has that gigantic portfolio and they're trying to improve the situation. They're trying to gain more XRP units or more capital into their portfolio. How they do that? They try to trade based on patterns or trends. Now this is why I try to support you guys with the patterns which have that minimal risk. Now when I say minimal risk, it still has risk. Say 20 to 30%, it may not run, but 70 to 80%, you'll reach your targets. Now there are a lot of guys who made profits, and I have the messages, but it's really hard, going through. And now we are getting towards the middle of this month. So if you want to join Patreon, try to join at least in a couple of days. Otherwise, after 15th, when you join, you're paying 1 month fee for just 15 days. And you have to again pay on the 1st. So do consider that, and don't say I didn't say that, because doing the refund, I do refund them, but it's unnecessary for me and you waste of time. So if you really want that value to go through all of these different assets because you have them in your portfolio and you see a lot of fluctuation and you're confused how to look at this, because there is a lot of crypto assets when you go through. And there is a lot of opportunity forming too, like this. There's a lot. So if you want that, you can look at the Patreon. Otherwise, just neglect that. Now, on the fundamental side of this, we have to see that too, because that's why we are looking at the price. The TA shows us the direction, but the fundamental shows you the mentality of investors, how it will change. So here in the announcement to XRP holders, you actually get to see this, whereas in other exchanges they are putting warnings for XRP holders, right? They're showing you that the situation is getting worse. We may kind of halt this trading, we may kind of do this, do that. Every different exchange is doing that. I even saw that recently from eToro highlighting this. Now majority of the holders are commenting at the bottom like, okay, you are not a US institution, we are not a US customer, then why should that affect us? Right? SEC is determining things for those who are in US, not outside US. Because say outside US, you are getting stuff clearly showing you that, say for example this UK, they don't care about SEC. For UK residents, it's what their government decides, right? Similarly, SEC is just for US, so you always have to understand still there are exchanges who are supporting XRP. So when the price goes up and you want to move your assets, do consider moving into those exchanges which stood with you during the tough times. And those exchanges which were kind of blah blah blah, we just kind of forget them. Why do we actually even want to keep them with you? I hope you actually understand. During the bad times, if they don't stand with you, don't stand with them during your good times. You don't have to do that. Now, looking at this is not a confirmed news, because at the bottom, if you see the comment here from Brian, he's highlighting, they don't confirm this stuff, that Brian Brooks is leaving OCC. So no spokesperson from OCC has confirmed this. But if that is to happen, there is a vacancy here in SEC enforcement. Now, that is not a small thing, because say on the side of SEC and the side of CFTC, you get positive guys who know this technology, who understand how this infrastructure works. Then this is going to be huge, because the SEC claims is based on Ripple sales, right? So that would be changed. Say here, when we look at the CFTC and Gary, there will be a lot of doubt. Okay, why is that bullish? Because this is the reason. 2018, Gary highlighted this. When asked about the XRP token, he gave this one. He think it's not a security. That's more than enough if you are looking at that. And then, there is a perspective laid out by Stuart here, saying, the escrow which Ripple releases every month may be a concern for SEC, and they have to go through the courts. We don't know. It's just speculation, but it can happen. If that happens, think about XLM. When their balance were drained, they kind of just burned that. What happened to the price? Go look at the chart. You'll understand it bursted to the upside. But that happened during a bear market. So in a bear market, it won't sustain that. Maybe the creators forgot about the market cycle. But here, if they are doing it now, that's going to be huge fluctuation. Now, even if they don't do that, it's going to pump. So if they do that, the pump will be extended. But personally, I don't think it will happen. Why? Because for them, this asset is about the new financial infrastructure for the world. And for that, even 100 billion supply may become small, because the use case and the target market is so big. Now, if you are looking at all of the scenarios, just getting rolled out, you have to understand why we say the new financial infrastructure. This actually directly comes up, it pops up, right? Get ready for self-driving banks. That's the 21st century. And what are they looking at? They're looking at algorithms and blockchain technology to run this system. So are we moving into a new territory or not? Now, I'm actually working on something which actually shows you a government document which gives you all the clarity about this stuff. Hopefully, I'll complete this, and as soon as I complete, I'll give that notification to my patrons, and then after that, in the next video, towards you guys. So don't miss out the next one, because we have a ship to launch. Do understand, satellites will go, new financial infrastructure will need new technology and new assistance. These will all add up. If you saw value for your time, and if you did receive value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done that already. Otherwise, it's cool. If you want to join the Patreon, do that by next couple of days, or then hold on for first. Now, we don't know what will be happening in next week or after that with the price of different assets, but if you would like to look at that, you can compare it with any others in the space, and then try the basic one and see if it is worth it. And if you feel you need more for your portfolio, then you can upgrade on the 1st of next month. So guys, I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.